Peace, and blessings. This is Moon Goddess Ambrosia, Ken 181, the Rare Crystal Dragon, and the Fifth Force Oracle of Moon Goddess and the Healing Arts. And I am here to share the cosmic news forecast for where we currently are as we are entering a new 13 moon cycle. And so I will be sharing the cosmic oracle reading of evolution to really bring to the forefront of our mind what we are tapping into within this lunar, this new 13 moon cycle. And so please take a moment to look at my contact information. If you are interested in booking and receiving your own personal cosmic oracle reading, please visit mghealingarts.com. Ashe. All right, so the Cosmic Oracle Readings of Evolution. This is based on the 13 moon Olmec/Mayan calendar, which is known as a synchronomer. And so I particularly like to focus on what is known as the Oracle Board, which provides the basic template for each galactic signature archetype out of the 260 kin in the cycle. And so the Destiny Kin Oracle provides us with a 5-dimensional template for sustaining our cosmic or divine synergy as multi-dimensional beings here on Earth. And when we tap into this frequency, we radiate this energy throughout the entire universe. And so here on the right side is an image of the Oracle board, which I will bring up more closely for us to look at. And one thing that I want to start by saying as well before we get into it is that I like to explain this as us being astronauts in a body or a traveler in a mode of transportation. So our cosmic synergy is the energy that moves us. It is also known as the life force. Our life force is what animates us in the physical body to have a human experience and to create and do all of these amazing human things that we can do, right? So I like to talk about the mindset of a synchrononaut or a synchronaut. And so I put together a phrase to help us stay reminded as to what this means. So the mindset of a synchronaut says, I am a living expression of divine synergy in motion, remembering my divine purpose to consciously create and fulfill my soul's mission in all spaces of time. And so I have put together a synchrononaut navigation map, which helps to lay out all of the cycles that we are currently navigating through. And also, if you are looking forward to receiving your own personal galactic profile chart, it will look similar to this, but it will be based on the information of when you were born and incarnate into your human experience. So please disregard the little typo in the top right corner. This is July 26, 2025, and we are on Dali. The kin of the plasma is kin 124, which you can see in on the left circle and also the circle in the center. The circle in the center represents the year that we're currently evolving through, and the circle on the left side is presenting the kin of the plasma that we're currently in. So let's start with where we are now within the cycle, the new year that we're in, which is the yellow resonant seed. And we're currently in the magnetic bat moon of purpose. So throughout this moon, we're going to ask ourselves, what is my purpose? And so before I get too deep in that, when it comes to the yellow resonant seed, this is us tapping into our power of flowering by looking at what we're targeting, being tapped into our awareness, which is also our self-awareness, and using this the insights that we receive to plant some seeds throughout this year. And so that brings us into the focus that in this first moon, it asks the question, what is my purpose? So throughout this moon, as we meditate and ask ourselves that question daily, we will receive those insights as to how to tap into our power of flowering. Also, we are in the first heptad, also known as a week. Within the cosmology, we say heptad. And this first heptad path is focused on us tapping into the knowledge to initiate a new viewpoint. So if you are familiar with the prayer of the seven galactic directions, there is the first phrase within the prayer that says, our wisdom may wisdom dawn in us so we may know all from within. And so with us tapping into this red heptad, this is where we really observe what's going on around us so that we could come into new and true knowledge and also shift our perspective on what we're experiencing or evolving through. Also within this first heptad, on this first heptad path, we're tapping into the frequency of allowing our awareness to transcend our loyalty. So what that means is that the more that we become aware and be inspired by that awareness of what our purpose is, it helps us to endure being loyal to our heart space, doing the things that we love to do, and using this awareness to continue to evolve us throughout the cycle. So with that, as we come into this awareness, that's where we tap into our beingness. We recognize who we are. We come into defining who we are and how we see ourselves taking form as we continue to evolve and grow and create. And so through this state of being, it also evolves the way that we utilize and activate our life force energy. And so this life force is what's animating us by us being aware of who we are and what we are here to do. Also, we are currently, well, I'll say this, every heptad starts off with what is known as radioplasmas. And so in this plasma, it is known as Dali. It is connected to the crown chakra and also our pre-conscious mental sphere. And so this is where we tap into our sensory recall of that dormant information within our DNA and our ancestral wisdom, as well as our Akashic records for the insights of the unmanifested. The unmanifested potential within us helps us to align ourselves with the divine will and activate our higher selves. And so that's just an overview of where we are within the moon and how it pertains or relates to the kin that we're on. That information comes from the Olmec spiritual calendar known as the Zocan. And so the yellow resonant seed is a part of the white mirror wave spell. So if you see on the right side and on that right circle, that is the kin that started off this wave spell, kin 118, known as the white magnetic mirror. And so we're going to dive a bit more into this as we proceed here. So let's take a moment to look at where we are on the Oracle board. So Kin 124. If we're looking at the Oracle board, the yellow seed is in the bottom right corner within that red castle. This red castle is known as the initiation. So we are tapping into our ability to initiate ourselves through this awareness. And so the Oracle board shows the basic template for the yellow seed, which includes the red earth down in the emotional body. That is like the gas in your car to get you moving, using that synchronized perspective of seeing ourselves. The white wizard sits in the mental strength or the mental body, which is strengthening us to overcome different challenges. And so that's like if you're driving down the road and you start seeing roadblocks and all of those different things, it's like helping you to stay focused on the path that you're on. Um, on the right side, that is in the position of our of our physical body, which is where the manifestations actually comes into form. And so here we have the blue eagle. Now, if you look in the above position, and you can see it throughout the other 20 archetypes on the oracle board, that those blank boxes are empty because it depends on the galactic frequency of that particular archetype. So just a quick recap, each archetype represents the potential creative power that each archetype holds. Now the frequency is when when that energy starts to vibrate, and that's where it turns into like the life force. That's when the energy becomes alive, basically. And so the blank box that represents the spirit guide, that is like the compass, that's the GPS that's directing us, holding the focus of that kin in the center, or that archetype in the center. So depending on what your galactic tone is, if you are a yellow seed, that will show you, or it will vary, or I'll say that'll give you an idea of what your spirit guide is, and you'll be able to notice that when you see your full destiny oracle, and also when you're reading the affirmation that corresponds with your kin number. And so particularly on this plasma, the yellow resonant seed is guided by the yellow warrior. So if you look on the right side in the spirit guide position, you see that yellow box, and you got like a question mark there. That is the solar seal for the yellow warrior. And so we're going to talk about what this all means when we get into the cosmic oracle reading breakdown. So before we get to that, let's talk about the breakdown of the yellow resonant seed. So the yellow represents the color pattern, or that color code that is seen throughout the cosmology. Just like I was talking about the red heptad, where it means knowledge initiates view, we also have a white heptad, which is where humility refines meditation. The blue heptad is where patience transforms conduct, and the yellow heptad represents power that ripens fruit. So it's the same application when it comes to the archetypes. So the yellow resonant seed is focusing on the power to ripen fruit. Now, if we jump down to the archetype, aka the solar seal, the yellow seed is also known as the innocent. And this is the power of flowering by targeting our awareness. And so that is the creative power. We tap into, our ability to target our awareness so we can ripen the fruit. And the galactic tone, the vibration, is that of the resonant tone. And this is the seventh tone out of the 13 galactic tones. And so the resonant tone is the vibration of inspiration and channeling attunement. So when we put all of this together, by us focusing on the power of flowering through targeting our awareness so that we can ripen the fruit, the vibration that we're going to operate in throughout this year is to channel our attunement to flower, attuning to what we're aware of. I like to look at the resonant tone like a remote control. It's like, okay, you feel inspired to watch a certain channel, so you're going to pick up that remote, you're going to push the buttons, and you're going to channel that attunement. And so it's the same thing when it comes to our goals and the seeds that we're seeking to plant throughout this year. You can look at it as picking up a remote. It's like, all right, I'm going to focus on this. Grab your remote, your pen and paper, or align your focus to whatever it is that you want to attune yourselves to, that you feel inspired to attune yourself to, I'll say. And so that is the breakdown of the yellow resonant seed. which now brings us to the affirmation that relates to it. We are in the white mirror wave spell, which is the power of endlessness. A wave spell consists of 13 kin that all helps to carry out the mission of that particular wave spell. So the yellow resonant seed is the 7th out of the 13 kin within that white mirror wave spell. So I have incorporated the wave spell and some additional information about the yellow resonant seed in the affirmation. But before I read that, I do want to complete out talking about what the mission of the white mirror wave spell is. So the mission of the white mirror is the power of endlessness, the power of reflecting order love to the love and loyalty of our hearts. So it's like, when it comes to the reflections, that's, the different experiences that's mirroring back to you your truth. So when you are reflecting your truth, you're also going to notice that in your surroundings, in your thoughts, the way that you feel, and how you interact with each other, with others. And so the mission of this wave spell is to reflect that order that's really showing the love that's within our hearts and what we're actually loyal to within our hearts of as our soul's essence, if that makes sense. May that it does. I'm kind of running on here because I'm like really just filling in on the energy. However, I trust that you all are catching my flow with this. And if not, you'll definitely understand it a lot more as you continue to tap in with me as I continue with this reading. And so now let's take a look at the affirmation. And again, I have tweaked it to incorporate additional information that pertains to the yellow seed. If you look online, you will see where I input different information just to make sure that I include more defining ways of how this connects to the wave spell. So if you're looking online at the affirmation, you will see some slight changes with that. And so the affirmation for the yellow resonant seed states, I channel my endlessness in order to targeting my heart by inspiring awareness. I seal my input, the informed or the information of flowering, with the resonant tone of attunement. I am guided by my power of divine intelligence. So this means that we are channeling the energy of this wave spell, which is our endlessness, the way that we reflect our hearts, reflect who we are through all that we do in order to target what's in our heart. So as we are going through this year, it's like being mindful to stay attuned to your truth. Like, how do you truly see your soul's essence? That is what's going to be reflected throughout this year to you. And we can tap into this energy and use this as a tool to target how we want to reflect who we are. So this wave spell is also a time of refining the way that we are expressing our true essence, how we're expressing what's in our hearts. And so we do this by inspiring our awareness, being self-aware of ourselves, being aware of our environment and things like that. And through that, we seal the input. The information that comes in through this awareness is helping us to be more informed about what we are flowering and how we are flowering those things. So the resonant tone of attunement is showing us, are we truly being in tune with our heart space? Are we really showing up the way that we see ourselves in our heart? And if not, this is that year and opportunity to go through that refinement and really allow our actions, thoughts, and feelings to be a reflection of our true essence. And so last but not least, It says, I am guided by my own power of divine intelligence. This is saying that when we allow ourselves to be fearless through that yellow warrior energy and ask questions, ask our higher selves these questions, ask the Most High or the divine source of all life these questions, that helps to show us how to really attune to our heart space and reflect that. And so, Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe-yo to us being on the yellow resonant seed. And so I have put together a simple one-line affirmation to remind us what our intentions are as we navigate through this yellow resonant seed year. And it states, I am inspiring my targeted awareness as the endless reflections of my heart. So we're going to read that 2 more times. I am inspiring my targeted awareness as the endless reflections of my heart. I, you, me, we are inspiring our targeted awareness as the endless reflections of our hearts. Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe-yo. And so now we're going to get into the cosmic oracle reading just to bring more definition to what this looks like. It also shows us how to connect with each aspect of the Destiny Kin oracle for the yellow resonant seed, and help us to really see how we can attune ourselves much better so that we can really plant the seeds that we know in our hearts that we are meant to act upon. And so again, the focus is to align ourselves to that attunement through our awareness, and we're being guided by the yellow resonant warrior. So again, the yellow warrior is in the position of the spirit guide. It's just like our GPS. So as we focus on being aware of ourselves and how we're showing up in our environments, we want to be mindful to really look at the seeds that we're planting, asking those questions by being fearless. The yellow warrior is dope because when it comes to asking questions, you have to be fearless. I know it's a lot of times where sometimes we don't want to ask questions because we don't want to seem dumb. It reminds me of like when people say don't ask no dumb questions. Like, I don't think there's any dumb questions. Like, I get sometimes some people may play around, but when you really sit and be serious and really explore and ask those questions, you will receive those insights. And it definitely takes us to be fearless to ask deeper questions for, you know, um, to ask deeper questions is really going to help benefit us in the way that we see ourselves growing, evolving, and what we're creating in our reality as our experiences. And so that's how we're being guided. Also, the yellow warrior is a part of that white dog. So when we're asking these questions, the whole point of us asking these questions is to attract the love and the loyalty in our hearts so that we can speak from our spirit and also communicate with our higher selves and the source of all creation. So allow yourself to be fearless in asking these questions so that you can know, how you want to target or know what your targets are, I'll say. And so down below in our emotional body, or in the emotional body, we have the yellow resonant earth. And so the yellow resonant earth is all about evolution. As we tap into our emotions or be aware of our emotions, it's showing us how to actually not navigate. It's showing us what areas and what aspects of ourselves and our lives need to evolve or shift. And so when we inspire these synchronicities to like towards what we're targeting, what our goals are, that's what's really gonna help us to be more in alignment to flowering those things. And so also the flip side about the synchronicities is that, if you're aware of certain things that's not in alignment with you, it's showing you where to make those changes. It's like bringing that clarity for you to see, like, see the changes that you need to make. So not only, can we tap into this energy to create different changes, our external environment and even like the way that we're thinking and stuff is reflecting to us the way that we need to evolve as well, and it's done through our emotions. So that's something to be mindful of as well. And one thing I forgot to mention is that as I go over this Destiny Oracle, there are different ways that you can connect with this Kinergy. So just be mindful of where you are. So like if you're feeling more emotional about, your goals, then you might want to tap in through the emotional body. If you are aware of your goals and you just want more guidance, then you could tap into the spirit guide and things like that. So I'll continue to add those notations as I finish or continue with the reading. So I'm going through the reading based on my favorite way of doing it to give that overview. I like to do it from the as above, so below perspective. So I covered the spirit guide and the emotional body thus far. And now we're going to get into the as within, so without aspect of it, by talking about the mental body. So also with the mental body, like say you're having different challenges in focusing on your goals, the mental body is a great space to connect with as well, or connect to as well. So here in the mental body, we have the white resonant wizard, and this is encouraging us to be receptive, enchant that receptivity by sitting in timelessness. And so enchanting the timelessness is like really setting out time, operating outside of time. It's just like when you're sitting down to meditate, or when you just forget about what time it is, just giving yourself that open space to be receptive to new insights. That's what the white wizard is encouraging us to do. And so as you create this space for yourself, just be receptive to any insights that come through for you. As you think about your targets, or you're exploring that aspect to bring yourself into more clarity, be mindful of the thoughts and feelings that are coming to you. Those insights are showing you how to overcome those challenges. And so that is what the white resonant wizard is bringing in for us, is to be inspired by being receptive. Receptivity is being open to new information. So that's another way, or that's another way to overcome the different challenges, is that, it reminds me of what's that quote? Insanity is, I forgot, I'm about to do my Medea version of it. But it's that quote when it say like, insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting something different. When you allow yourself to let go of repeating this old way of doing stuff and being open to new information, that can allow that, like the new insights to come in for you that can actually work out a lot better for you, instead of, doing the same thing over and over. um, I started laughing because I was thinking about, like, say that, you got your eyes closed and you keep walking into a wall. It's like, don't keep walking into the wall. Open your eyes, find a door or find the exit and get out. That's what the white wizard is encouraging us to do. It's like, taking a moment to pause. Like, hold on, wait. I keep hitting this wall. So let me open my eyes and be aware, so I can receive new insights as to how I can get out this thing, right? So that is the white resonant wizard. And last but not least, over on the right side, the physical body. This is where the physical manifestation shows up. So that can also be like our body will give us different signals, and also our physical environment is showing us different things as well. And so the blue resonant eagle is focused on, or this position acts as support for everything else that take place in the internal aspects of ourselves that we just covered. This supports this energy being carried out in the physical. So the blue resonant eagle is there to inspire our mindsets. Through that transformation, we have to transform the way that we're thinking and perceiving things, based, perceiving what we're aware of, so that we can create the vision that we see ourselves accomplishing with our goals, our targets and things. And so, in a nutshell, this is the Destiny Oracle, or the Cosmic Oracle reading. And one thing I will add in too is that when you really, or as you connect with this and build those connections with, by using the different aspects of this Destiny Oracle, it helps you to realize the opportunities that you can target, so that you can really pause the endless reflections of your heart. So continue to stay connected to your heart space throughout this wave, or throughout this year. Really honor what you seek to reflect in as your character, and throughout your lifestyle, and even the things that you want to create when you're interacting with other people. Just stay mindful of what your goal is in life, basically. How do you want to show up? And so as you're practicing, or being more aware of that, it can help you to see the different opportunities that you have been given. And so, yeah, that concludes the Cosmic Oracle reading of evolution. And I would like to close out by reminding us of our one-line statement for the yellow resonant seed. And again, this energy is carrying us throughout the entire year. And so I just noticed I had some typos up here. So disregard that. This right here is the Destiny Oracle of Kim 124. And right here we have a little typo. So please excuse that error. But the yellow resonant seed affirmation that we're going to close out with is, I am inspiring my targeted awareness as the endless reflections of my heart. And so with that, I say Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe-yo. That concludes the Cosmic Oracle reading of evolution. I am Moon Goddess Ambrosia, the fifth force oracle of Moon Goddess and the Healing Arts. Also, Kin 181, the Red Crystal Dragon. And before I close out, I'm going to say my affirmation. I dedicate in order to nurture, universalizing being. I seal the input of birth with the crystal tone of cooperation. I am guided by the power of space. Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe-yo. And so I send you all my love, the highest of the highest vibrations. In Lakesh Alaken, may that you enjoy your creation in every single moment of now. And so with that, much love and gratitude to all of you for tapping in.